if you have this cube, it looks a little daunting and kind of confusing. But if I were to slice it in all the corners and lay it out like this, what does it kind of look like? An intense composite shape. It looks like a ton of rectangles, and they're just spread apart a ton. Our job is to find the area of every one of these rectangles, then combine them. It is like a composite shape, but crazier. Here's your hint. Every time you have a cube, you know there are two of each side. So I'm going to have you put a little dot on the top, put a dot on the bottom. This dot was 8 by 15. Where else do you see 8 by 15 on this rectangle? Where is it, Mason? It's the bases. Put a circle or a dot on the bases. That is 8 by 15. Okay, let's go look at another side. Where do you see the side length of 20 by 8? That's going to be an X. I'm going to put an X where I see 20 by 8. There are two of each of these every time. Where do I see 20 by 8? 20 should be labeled. It is right here. It's kind of cut off. Put 20 right on this side. So 20 millimeters by 8 is what part of this thing, Mason? On the sides. Put an X on the sides. Okay, and then there's one last thing that we haven't found. It's the front and the back. Let's just do a question mark for the front and the back, and I'll put that one right here. There's the back of it, and the front's kind of the same. And that thing is, what is the length and the width? It looks like 15 is the bottom of it, 20 is the edge. Where do I see 20 by 15? Right here. Cool. So you just labeled everything. Let's start out with your bases. I want to find the area of the base. What was the two sides of the base again? Turn and talk to your partner. What numbers? Go. How do you find the area? Keep going. Talk. How do I find the area? There was some formula yesterday. What do you think, Paige? What do I do with 8 and 15? Yeah, do 8 times 15. In your calculator, plug it in. 8 times 15 is... Sean? Good. You just found two of the sides, and there are two of these things, right? So we need to have 120 happen 2 times. You can either add 120 or multiply it by 2. It happens once, then twice. So both of these sides are 240 for the base. Save this for later, box it. Then go to the sides. What were the lengths of the sides? Daniel, 20 and 8. Do 20 times 8. And that should be, Daniel, keep going. Row 3 aboard the paper. You said 160? Okay. And then it happens 2 times. 1, 2. So you need to multiply it by 2. Okay, save that for later. And you have one last side we're missing. Max, what am I missing for this one? We did the sides, we did the base. I'm missing front and back. Let's do that one. Front slash back. And that would be what length for the base and the height? Cameron. By 20, yeah. 15 times 20. Sean and you guys okay? Yeah. Okay. 15 times 20 is what? Jameson. I got 300. Good. And what do I have to do with that number? It doesn't just happen once, but Mason? Square it twice. Multiply it. by 2, or add it again by itself. You just found every area on this cube. Every area is now listed. We're now going to combine them together. 240 plus 320 plus 600. And what's the answer or question, Mara? 1160? Silent S if you agree with that?
No.
1160, you want to add something, Chad?
Millimeters squared.
Yeah, the units would be millimeters squared. Perfect. 1160 millimeters squared is your answer. When you have a cube, this is a little tedious. I'm aware of that. Surface area problems tend to take a little longer. Make sure that you label everything, and we'll see what happens if they don't cut it in half. Note before moving on, every rectangle prism has sides that come in pairs. So you can take one side and multiply it by 2, just like we did. Read example 2 for me, please. Sean.
Aaron is making a jewelry box of wood in the shape of a rectangular prism. The jewelry box will have the dimensions shown. She plans to spray paint the exterior of the box. How many square inches will she have to paint?
So spray painting, in other words, is finding surface area. This doesn't have this nice split apart diagram for us. Most of the problems you see will not do that. And if that's the case, we need to just take 2 at a time. Let's start with our front and back. Put a dot on the front, put a dot on the back. What is the side lengths of the front and the back? If it's 12 on the bottom, what's the height? Turn and talk to your partner. Go. 3, 2, 1. What do I multiply together, Hadley? 12 times 6. That's the base, and the height is right here. You can rewrite it across from it. 12 times 6 is what answer? Sean?
72.
And there's 2 of these things, so I'm going to multiply it by 2. What is that answer? 72 times 2. Brayden? Good. Okay. You did one side. Let's go to the next. You can either do the top or bottom or the 2 sides. Let's go ahead and do sides. Your side is going to be this thing right here. What are the 2 numbers that make the base and the height of our side? What's the base and what's the height of that one? Start hunting for numbers, see if you can find it or drag one across. Mason?
15 and 6.
Good. 15 times 6 is what? Liliana.
90.
What do I do to both sides, Reese? Or what do I do with the 90? Awesome. And last pair of sides, what am I looking for, Lauren? I have the front and back, I have the sides. The base and the top of this are the last 2 I'm missing. And let's see if we can find what 2 numbers go for the base. Chad.
12 and 15.
12 times 15. Daniel, what's that answer? Corbin, you catch something?
Well, I'm just starting to I understand it a lot better.
Good. And did you multiply that by 2 yet? Oh, 12 times 15 is 180. What's 12 times 15, Daniel? 12 times 15 is 180, and then you doubled it. Okay. Okay. Cool. Once you have all of your 3 areas combined, they're doubled up and everything, what do I do, Colton? 144, 180, and 360. And plug that in. What's the answer, Sean?
I think I got a typo wrong, but I got 684.
Okay. Anyone disagree with that? We're good. I made a blunder on the top one, and I'm gonna see if you can catch it before I just gift it to you. Here's the answer. Okay. So, wait.
Oh my god, blunder.
What's my blunder for this one, Mara? I put a 3 instead of a squared. It should be squared if talking about area. Please mark it Hadley. It should be squared. Next page. So far, you've done 2 rectangular prisms. If you have a square pyramid, it looks like this. Use this thing that's kind of spread apart, and they dissected this shape. Turn and talk to your partner. How many triangles do you see? Are they exactly the same? How many squares do you see? Are there any extras? Go. How many triangles? How many squares? Five, four, three, two, one. How many squares do you see on this shape? How many squares do you see, Mason?
One.
There's 1. Let's start with that one because I believe that's the easiest for me to solve. And it is 3 by 3. This square happens once. So let's use the base of this thing. Where? Okay, I get it. Geesh. Yes. Do you get this one? And did you count the grids? There's like 100.
There's like.
I meant the shape. You get what I'm saying. Jeez. And this here's a square.
And then there's multiple squares.
This looks like a square. And look it, I found the word square.
There's like 123.
There's like 7.
There's like 124.
Yeah.
You're like,
Okay, moving on. 3, 2, 1.
90 squares.
Area for the square is 3 times 3, which is 9. This only happens once. Box it. Go to the triangle. How many times does the triangle appear in this pyramid? Daniel. It happens 4 times. If you split it in half, it's 8. We're just going to deal with 4, okay? Let's go to the triangle and call that the side. Check your voice, please. The side of a triangle, or if you're looking at this thing, it has a base and a height. Remember that your formula is base times height divided by 2. The base is 3. The height is 4. Sean and Chad, professional, please. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So you just found this is 6 units squared. I now multiply this thing by 4 different times because there's 4 of them, and you get 24 total. If you want to put your units, you can put it as units squared. It doesn't say inches or feet, so just put units as U and then square it. Combine all them together, and you add 24 plus 9. 24 plus 9 would be 33. And you're going to label it like this: units squared. Units squared. Like that. You try this one on your own. It should be quiet. If you need to check with partner, you're talking about math. Yeah. You got 2 minutes. Referee is now at 100%. Thanks, referee. For one's 100. Jackson, make sure that's all working. Just make sure you're working on it first. Chad and Sean, are you done? If you're finished, give me a thumb up. Not done yet. Aiden, you're not done. You shouldn't be talking to anyone besides your partner. Okay. Jackson, is that about math? And give me the answer if you have it. Voice off, 3, 2, 1. Silent hand. If you did not get it, track the board and make sure your work looks like mine. Liliana, what'd you get? 24 yards squared would be correct. 19 plus 15 is 24. Any questions on that one? The trickiest part that we're having is the triangle is always base times height divided by 2. I want you to write this on the top. Triangle area is always base times height divided by 2. You guys kind of skipped that. You practiced a little more in 6th grade normally, but I moved you quickly because 7th graders don't have that standard. Next page, and final one. You have a triangular prism that looks like this. When you split it apart, notice on a triangular prism, there are 2 of the same triangles. There are 2 of the same rectangles. And there are one different rectangle. There is a base of a 6 and a base of a 5. It is not all exactly the same. Let's go ahead and do one of the rectangles first. I'll start with the one that's bigger. We have 6 times 7 for rectangle 1. 7 times 6 is, whole class, 42, and the unit for this one is nothing, so it's just unit squared. Graydon, you good? I'm moving pretty quick, just write down what I have as a start. Then you find the area of your other sides. What are the 2 side lengths of the other sides? Silent hand, track the board. Mason. 7 times 5 is what, whole class? 35. Okay. What do I need to do to that 35 before moving on? Hadley? There are 2 of those sides. I put X's in 2 spots because they both have a 5 and a 7. A 5 and a 7. So this is going to be 70. Okay, you have 2 sides so far, and now I'm missing what part of my shape? What is the final part of my shape? Turn and talk. 10 seconds. Go. 3, 2, 1. What am I missing, Cameron? I'm missing the triangles. Remember, the triangle formula is base times height divided by 2. What is the base of this triangle? The height's easy. What's the base of this thing, Mason? You can transfer the 6 up. So let's use 6 times 4, then divide it by 2. 6 times 4 is 24, divided by 2 is 12. There's 2 of these triangles, let's multiply it by 2. You found your triangles, you found 2 rectangles, you found 1 rectangle. I now combine it together. What's 42 plus 70 plus 24? Daniel. Cool. And anyone disagree with that? Questions? I'm gonna double check because I see some people crunching numbers. Row 3, did you have a question?
No.
Okay, I'll check in with a few of you that looked a little confused. Next page. Skip the U-try and move on to partner practice. You should have 1, 2, and 3 done. If you can get there in 30 seconds, because you only have 5 minutes left of class, go to your 7 o'clock. If you don't have a 7, see me. You have 30 seconds to get there. Go. Paige, just pick a partner there that you see. Okay. You kind of step to the back. Thanks for working, Mason and Max. Pencils to paper. Danielle and Cameron are already there. Maybe someone read it. You guys are number 7s too? What a quinkity.